All right, today we're jumping into the very first episode of a truly epic fantasy series from 2003, Hatim. It's one of those classic tales of light versus dark, destiny versus choice, and it all kicks off with one simple but really powerful question.
And that's it. That's the core idea of this whole story. It sets up a world where good and evil aren't just, separate things fighting each other. No, here they are cosmically tied together from the very moment they come into existence. So, our story begins at the exact same moment, but in two very different kingdoms. One royal birth is a cause for huge celebration, while the other brings a terrifying omen. This is the moment their destinies get tangled up for good.
I mean, you couldn't paint a more different picture. Over in Yemen, everyone's celebrating. A prince is born, and he's seen as this beacon of light. But in Jafar, the mood is, it's just grim. A birth that should be a happy occasion is just filled with this sense of dread.
So, right from their very first breath, these two kids are put on completely opposite tracks. One is meant to be an angel, and the other, a vessel for a demon. Let's break down how that happens. So in Yemen, the new prince's arrival is a huge deal. From the second he's born, everyone sees him as this pure soul, a champion who is absolutely destined to fight back against the darkness. And then, this holy man, a fakir, shows up at court and lays down this incredible prophecy. He names the boy Hatim, basically sealing his fate right then and there. This kid is going to be a hero, a sun whose light will one day drive away all evil. Meanwhile, in Jafar, the story takes this tragic, horrifying twist. The newborn prince, he's stillborn. His heart just isn't beating. And for a moment, it seems like a terrible tragedy for the royal family. But the king's evil vizier, a guy named Najumi, he sees an opportunity here. He starts this dark ritual calling on the king of evil to possess the baby's lifeless body. And through this chant, he brings the child back to life, but he fills it with this malevolent, demonic spirit. So yeah, the baby's alive, but it's not the king's son anymore. Not really. Now the king's wise advisor, Alama, he senses this evil immediately. He runs to the king, trying to warn him, saying, "Look, that's not your son, it's a demon, and if you let him live, he's going to grow up to enslave the entire world." The king is, of course, absolutely horrified. He orders the one person he thinks he can trust, Najumi, to destroy the child. And you just gotta love the irony, right? The guy who created this monster is now told to kill it. Of course, Najumi has no intention of doing that. He fakes the whole thing with a rabbit's heart, and then kills the only guy who knows the truth, Alama, to make sure his evil plan stays on track. So, with the secret totally safe, the stage is set for the next chapter. The two princes are raised in worlds that could not be more different. And this is what really shapes them into the hero and villain they were always meant to become. And this slide just perfectly lays out their two paths. It's that classic nature versus nurture showdown. Hatim is raised out in the open, in the light, taught kindness and justice. But the boy in Jafar, who's now named Janza, he's raised in the shadows by Najumi, learning all about dark arts and being groomed for one thing: absolute power. Okay, so years pass, the boys grow into young men, and now it's time for their true natures to finally be let loose on the world, putting them on a path to a head-on collision. Hatim's first big moment is pure heroism. He's out riding and he sees Princess Jasmine being attacked by these demonic eagles, which of course were sent by Najumi. Without even thinking, Hatim jumps in and saves her, showing off his incredible skill and courage. At almost the exact same time, Jamzar decides it's time to make his grand entrance. He storms into the court of Jafar, reveals who he is to the parents who thought he was dead, and just violently takes the throne from them. And his ambition? It's on full display from the get-go. This isn't just about ruling one little kingdom. For him, it's about total world domination. His journey, as he puts it, has just begun. But Janzar and Najumi know that just having demonic power on your side, that might not be enough. To become truly unstoppable, they figure they need a new and way more sneaky kind of power.
Najumi comes up with this brilliantly twisted idea. He realizes that pure evil can always be defeated by pure good. So to become truly unbeatable, Janzar can't just destroy goodness, he has to absorb it. He has to merge its power with his own demonic strength.
So how on earth do you get the power of goodness?
Well, according to Najumi, it's actually embodied in a woman of absolute virtue. And the only way for Genzar to get that power for himself is to marry her.
So, Najumi uses his dark magic, scans the world, and finds the perfect vessel for this power, Princess Sunana of Durgapur. She is literally described as the living embodiment of all that is good in the world, which makes her their one and only target.
But, and this is a huge but, there's a catch. A big one. This isn't something they can just take by force. The power of goodness doesn't work that way. Sunaina has to willingly agree to marry Genzar. If they try to force her, poof, her goodness, her power, it all just disappears.
And that right there sets up the ultimate conflict. You've got Hatim, the hero, who's supposed to protect goodness, and Janzar, the power-hungry demon who's desperate to possess it. They're on a collision course, and the embodiment of goodness is stuck right in the middle. It really just leaves us with that final, epic question. When these two forces finally meet, who's going to win?